Hello everyone and welcome to Commander Training. My name is Excoundrel and in this video we'll be covering some basic concepts that you will need to know to get a head start over your competition. This video is brought to you by EA Game Changers and they have sponsored this video too. I played this game in very high volumes, so it was nice of EA to sponsor this. So without further ado, let's get into it and start cracking. Now the tutorial will teach you some basic concepts like creating units, moving those units, capturing the control point. It will also teach you a little bit about counters, what units counter other units, and how to control your harvester. It will also introduce you to the concept of multiple platforms, which you will need to control at the same time. After the tutorial and after you've gone through the various UI screens, you'll note that you have got a lot of things on your screen that you'll need to pay attention to. The first of which is the upgrade screen. Now, you are introduced to this throughout the tutorial, however, you aren't really told what you should be spending your credits on and what you should be leveling up. It is my opinion that you should definitely look to level up some of your more basic units first. These are your bread and butter units. They are going to get you through the early phases of the game, and things like the Rhino and the Rifleman are infinitely useful at any stage in the game. Also pay attention to your bounties. They refresh every day. You should definitely complete them as they give you a huge payout. I would always recommend that if you do anything on a daily basis, complete your bounties. If you're interested in an alliance, you can join, create, or search for an alliance on the alliance screen. This is a good way to link up with friends, a good way to make new friends, and you'll also be able to learn a bit about the game from people who have already been playing. The inbox will tell you current ongoings in Command & Conquer Rivals, including the newly introduced competitive scene. And you can also add friends. Link your EA account and link your Facebook account if you want to try and keep your account secure. You can also go to the leaderboard, which is my personal favorite. You can look at some of the top players in the game right now. You can look at which decks they are using and aspire to craft a deck of similar standard. Now remember, certain decks are used in certain metas and the meta evolves as you climb the ladder, but this is a good way to see what the newest and freshest decks are and the best way to assess how you need to be building your decks in the future. You can also see the decks that they have used as of late. You can also check out their recent match history. You'll also be able to have a look at their collections as well, seeing which units they've leveled up and which units they favour, and have a look at the overall power level of those different units. The last thing that I recommend that you do is link your account in the settings to an email. This will help protect your account should you ever lose access to your device or lose access to the app, and should you want to recover it, this is necessary to make sure that your progress is saved. I have lost an account, believe me, very important. So, moving into the game. Now, I will talk about this game in particular, but I'll also be highlighting some very important concepts. A lot of Command & Conquer Rivals is about reading your opponent and countering them. It's all about a game of cat and mouse. Who can counter the opponent more readily and who can spend just the right amount of resources to control the nuclear launch pads. I saw a very early capture of this point on the bottom side of the map. Now at this level I automatically assume that is going to be an infantry-led assault, and so I pop out some shockwave troopers and these will help me clean up the infantry that my opponent has put down very readily. Now, pathing is very important in this game. Pathing is the route at which your units take to get to a certain location. The reason I have put my shockwave troopers in this anti-infantry choke point is the quickest way to path to the nuclear launch pads involves a direct move in a tile next to my shockwave units on the side here. And as you can see, they have absolutely out-traded their worth in Tiberium. I don't mind them dying because they are already very low and it will free up a unit slot for me in the long run. You only have access to 6 unit slots, so you have to make sure that you use those slots wisely. The reason that I'm keeping my units in these stationary defensive positions is because stationary units always fire first. Command & Conquer Rivals generally gives defenders the advantage. As you see on the top side of the map, I kept my Rifleman a little bit further back on this plate, but that's because if the enemy moved in to counter those units and take control, I can always use that choke point area that we highlighted earlier to pop down my turret and allow it to do some work on infantry that are trying to contest me. Now, I actually end up losing control of this missile despite having had control for the majority of the match so far. That is because the progress bar on the missile will go up regardless of who is controlling the actual missile launch pads. And this means at the end of the day, whoever controls it towards the end of its progress bar is going to be the one that fires the missile. This allows last minute steals and it can also be quite an exciting turnaround for a lot of players. I'm going to talk a little bit about pathing in extra detail here. As you can see, I've finally used that pit bull on the bottom side of the map to contest my enemy harvester. Contesting my enemy harvester will give me a Tiberium payout if I get the kill, but it'll also slow down my enemy's Tiberium gain, which is very important for controlling this match as the game progresses. You can see that I pathed my pitbull in a term that we called micro to micro it away from my enemy missile units. He didn't respond very quickly and I got a free kill onto the Tiberium harvester, giving me a large Tiberium payout and also allowing me to regain control of the missile areas, forcing my enemy to play catch up. You can see that I've got lots of units on the field right now, so I send my Rhino into this choke point area, looking to get a little bit of excess damage off, but essentially sacrificing it to open up another unit slot. The more units that you have on the field, the longer the cooldown are for units in general, so you want to make sure that low health units do get sacrificed. Speaking of pathing that we were earlier, watch me change the pathing of those Shockwave troopers using Lieutenant Strongarm's special ability turret. I made him walk all the way round that pond because he was not paying attention, and that allowed me to get the missile off for free without having any more contests towards those plates. It was a really nicely timed special ability, and it shows the power and the strategical depth that Command & Conquer Rivals requires you to have to play at the top of your game. We are one missile apiece right now. The next missile decides the game. This missile always charges quicker than the rest, meaning that you have to react faster and contest more readily to make sure that this objective goes in your favor. At this point in the game, you should be looking to body block the entrances to your platforms as much as possible, and you can even do this with your harvesters. They can be moved like any other unit, and they are very tanky, meaning that they can take a lot of time to go down, and if you're using them to body block an entrance, that can be the deciding factor between winning or losing a game of Command & Conquer Rivals. I hope you've enjoyed this Commander training. See you next time.